Hello and welcome back to the WSMX programming training. Here in this lab recording, we are talking about lab number 3. It's overall about debugging. And yes, so you will become familiar with the debug perspective and its debugging tools with a focus on debugging mixed signal test scenarios. For getting started, please continue with the test program WSMX_lab from the previous lab. Okay, and with that we come to task number 1, execute in debug mode. Um, there are a couple of steps here. For that I will shift the lab manual onto another screen and continue here in my running smart test session. And it says here that you should actually open the debug perspective and as outlined in the lab manual, we have a couple of different ways to do so. So please note that currently we are in the setup perspective here, where we set up the test method code from the previous lab. And for debugging, you can either go here into the test flow view, and then you have here the debug option. You could also open the flowchart view here, and then here you have the debug option. For that you have to click into the main flow, and then you could do this, or you have here overall the debug for the test program here. And yeah, we can just use that one here. Then you're gonna be asked if you want to switch. Yes, we want to switch. And now we have here our debug view. And uh, yes, so now we're in the debug view. I usually prefer working in the flowchart view because there usually, it's a nice representation of your test program, and usually it has some additional features. Um, and if you click into one of those test suites, you can click here the execute button, and then you will see that actually you can now go into the operating sequence view, and you see here the operating sequence. You can click on the measurement view here, and then you see, okay, this is the measurement view of the measurement um, in the distortion test suite. You can also enable here the burst mode on and off. Um, and yes, so for example, you have here now a shortcut to the operating sequence used in this distortion test suite. If you just click that one here, you see that one pop up. And now you can also very conveniently um, compare what is in the operating sequence here and what is typed here. So we have here one source wave sign. That's actually this action call here. Um, if you go into the AWG, into the action, then you see here all those settings we used for that one. Somewhere here should also be the repeat count. Here that's 10. That's why this is rather long compared to our measure waveform action, which is in here. So we can zoom in here, and you see that is not so long. For that you also could click onto the digitizer here, then you see here the signal which is used for that one. It corresponds to this one here. Um, and you can enable here the hide hardware default values. So everything which you did not specify explicitly and which is actually not mandatory um, is then hidden, but we can enable that one again. For example, here we see the DAT impedance, which we set for that one here. We have here the sample rate and those things. And I think the task in the lab manual here now is um, to execute the program and then check the AWG and digitizer settings in the tester view, the measurement view, and the instrument view. Okay, measurement view we just covered. The tester view is giving you an even broader picture. So that one here is the tester view. You see here the signals which were used in this measurement, which instrument they are assigned to the pogo pin, um, in which test suite they were lastly used. We have here the option that we use the internal cross connect. That's important if you're doing an online session. You can switch here to the AWG pane, then it's filtering out the other the other signals. And I think very interesting also is the instrument view. So you can click here into the tester view, show in instrument. You can do also the same here from the measurement view. And then here the instrument view will pop up. And yes, if you want to switch to another signal here, then you have to just click here in the measurement view from the digitizer on this signal here to the AWG. And if you click on that one, then the instrument view will automatically switch to the AWG instrument view. Um, you can interactively change the settings here in the measurement view. You could change here the amplitude, for example. Then you see that this now is highlighted in blue here. And if you then click here the rerun measurement, then you see that changed, and that also here in the measurement view the value changed accordingly. You can restore the last measurement setups. If you click that one, then you see here that we are back to the 350 millivolts here. And if you then execute here again, then it will also change in the measurement view. One thing which I find personally very interesting or very useful is that you can have two measurement views at the same time. I'm going to show you here again how to do this. So you have here the measurement view. Now we're having the AWG in here. You can use here the pin this view button and then also shift it somewhere else. That means that this instrument view now here is pinned onto the signal here, which is set up as an AWG. But you can now go to the digitizer in the measurement view, right click here, show instrument, and then you have here the AWG and here the digitizer. You can also swap that back here, and then now you have both things here simultaneously at the same time. And then you could play around a little bit with those values. Um, in the lab manual, it's talking about the hidden and default hardware settings. Clicking on this icon here that we did here. So if you have a look at here the digitizer, we can even make this measurement view a little bit bigger. If you click on that one, then you see it collapsed. There are not so many options available. Please note here we are on the action pane. If I click here again, then you get here the scroll bar. Then you can really see all those options and settings you could choose, also the ones which are optional and where usually some default values are plugged in. Okay, anything else here in the lab manual? Yeah, compare the measurement view and the instrument view with the ones specification from the setup part of the distortion flow. Okay, we can also do that one, of course. So here in the measurement view, as I said, you have those shortcuts to the operating sequence and also to the specification file. You just click here now, you have that one here. This is the spec file, and you see here that, for example, we are sourcing here uh, waveform in the AWG. Um, Here we could, if you click on that one, you see that we are sourcing this name here. That's exactly the one which we are using here. It's giving you the path to that one. What else can we do? We can Yeah, maybe the amplitude. Yes, of course. Here we have the amplitude in the AWG. Here you see that one. Um, and the repeat count is shown here. In an online session, you could even take the keep alive button here and source. That would mean um, that the tester hardware is like sourcing this waveform in a continuous loop. And keep alive also means that you will have the signal output although the measurement execution already concluded or finished. Mandatory properties missing bandwidth action. Um, I think that is because in the AWG we are actually using here bandwidth of 8, but that might be because we are having um, I think that's because we're having an offline session. Here you see the DAT impedance settings as in the DAT board description file. Um, okay, and we should also compare it with the settings uh, in the setup part of the distortion subflow. For that we can click here on the distortion, just click F3 and then that one pops up here, but basically here we didn't really change a lot of things. We can also go into that one here and then for example here we have specified the number of cycles and the number of harmonics. Do we see that somewhere in here? We have the decimation factor. No. Usually that is actually not a relevant instrument setting. That is for the post-processing. Okay, but with that we had a look at the instrument view for the WSCL MX card, for the AWG and the digitizer. And um, with that, we actually stop or terminate the debugging session, and with that, we also finish this task here. I will continue with the next task in a separate video. Okay, so then bye bye and hear you soon.